Now, the Indian government has come up with a sports bill. It is a proposed sports bill right now. It will be tabled in the parliament. It will go through voting. But if it does come into effect, what does this mean for Indian sports? That's exactly what we're going to be discussing in this particular video. What I will show you is both sides of the coin. I'll show you the positive things that come with this new proposed sports bill, but everything is not hunky-dory as is being reported. There are certain things that probably will not go down well with hardcore Indian sports fans or the well-wishers of Indian sports, because certain things have been changed, tweaked, which might benefit the administrators, but I'm not sure if it will benefit sports per se. Before we dive into the 5 good points about it and 5 not so good points about the proposed sports bill, let me give you a bit of a background. Why is it that this sports bill is being tabled in the parliament, and why is the government very keen that it gets passed as soon as possible? And the background to that is, remember, India is bidding for the 2036 Olympic Games. Just a month ago, an Indian delegation had gone to the IOC, International Olympic Committee's headquarters, where at the Olympic headquarters, they were made aware that, listen, you're talking about bidding for the Olympics, but get your house in order. The way your sports federations are run, the amount of corruption, the way some of those elections take place, the way, doping menace has been mishandled in India, a lot of these issues, there's infighting in some national federations, all of these issues need to be sorted out. Once you sort these things out, then we'll think about the Olympic Games in 2036. Now, we know this government is very keen that the Olympic Games do come to India. They are being proposed to be held in Ahmedabad. They're very bullish about it. But if they really want the Olympic Games, they'll have to set their house in order, which is why this bill is being proposed, and the government wants that it should come into effect as soon as possible. As I said, there will be certain good things about this bill that will set Indian sport right, and some not so good things. Let's take a look at 5 things that we give thumbs up to when it comes to the 2025 proposed sports bill. Firstly, formation of the National Sports Tribunal. So if you remember, now I'll take you back to the Vinesh Fogart case. It went to a world body, Court of Arbitration of Sports. So why is it that you have to go to a world body? Because in international sport, there exists a world body that looks at matters related to sport. Now, that sort of a recourse wasn't available in India. So every time there was any issue in any sporting federation, if an athlete had a problem, if an administrator had a problem, the problem was related to elections, mismanagement of fund, anything, you had to go to the courts. So you go to the High Court, Supreme Court, and we've seen it with various other national federations. Now what they've done is they've formed a National Sports Tribunal. It'll have the powers of a civil court. Also, tribunal's decisions can only be challenged in the Supreme Court. So there is a recourse available. There'll be experts in sports, so you can take that course. And I think this is a big thumbs up in terms of what the sports bill is proposing. Thumbs up to the number 2 thing. All national sports bodies will come under the RTI now, which means any one of us as citizens, we can gain information as to what is happening in the sporting bodies. You must remember, as a citizen, we fund the athletes. It is the government that ends up giving grant and money to sporting bodies to prepare athletes for Olympic Games and various other international tournaments. But that doesn't come out of the government fund. It comes out of the taxpayers' money. It's the money that you and I pay, which eventually goes into development of sports. So as somebody who's contributing to sports, you and I always want to know what is it that is happening, whether it is with regards to selection, how the funds are being used. All of that information you can now get based on RTI. Remember, the BCCI was also asked to come under the RTI many years ago, but they resisted at that time. Now, I'll get to the BCCI a bit later, but now all sports bodies need to come under RTI. That's the other good thing. Third thing, BCCI to come under the sports bill. So now, till now, BCCI functioned as an independent body. They said that, listen, we don't take funds from the government, so we'll do our own thing. Now, the sports bill is saying, no, you also have to abide by this sports bill. So all things that are part of the sports bill, as I mentioned, RTI just a short while ago, BCCI will also have to have that. So in case you want any information about the BCCI, till now, it's It's kept as a state secret where the money is spent. Yes, you get to know a few little things from the BCCI, but now every detail that anybody desires, whether it is a journalist, whether it's a Aam Aadmi, whether it is just a casual fan, anyone can get that information via an RTI, and all things that will be there in the sports bill, good and bad, will also be something that the BCCI will also have to govern under. Okay, another thumbs up number 4 for all national sports bodies will be de-recognized if irregularities are there in election process. Now, this is a pet peeve that a lot of people involved in Indian sports have, that election procedure is never transparent. Lots of proxies are used, in terms of how the election procedure happens, how people are elected. So that is something that you want to do away with. You want to have clear election, and then people who don't have the muscle power or the money power are sometimes ignored. All of that doesn't happen. So if the government finds out that there is any sort of irregularity in election procedure, they'll just de-recognize it. That means that federation will get no government funds from there on. And majority of federations, barring the BCCI, just survive on government funds. So that's another thumbs up. Thumbs up number 5 is that action against national sports bodies if annual accounts are not published or misuse of public funds. This is another thing. Sometimes they're used for personal use. There isn't enough transparency. We don't know if the money is actually going to the athlete or going towards infrastructure. Now, all of that will have to be made clear. And if there is any issue found there, once again, there will be action taken against that particular sports body. So these are 5 things to which we give thumbs up when it comes to the National Sports Bill 2025. Now, to the other side of the story, 5 things for which we're going to do thumbs down. Now, before I get to those 5 things, let me also give you a bit of a background. As of now, most of the national sports bodies are governed under before the bill came, there was also another act present there, the Sporting Act, under which was done in 2011, and that happened after a lot of litigation, happened after a lot of court cases. Remember, there were people within the sporting fraternity, outside, lawyers, that were fighting to bring transparency within the management of these sporting federations. So they took their matters, and each federation was dealt with differently. They used to keep taking those matters to the Session Court, to the High Court, to the Supreme Court, and after a lot of deliberation, looking at various other federations over the years, they did draft a sporting policy in 2011, under which most of the sporting bodies were functioning till now. Now, some of those things which came after a lot of deliberation in courts have been done away with in the new proposed sporting bill. And those are the things to which we're going to be giving a thumbs down to. So let's break them one by one. Thumbs down number 1 to the bill is age restriction has been diluted. Now, what is the previous scenario was no official could serve. That is still now, till the bill has not been passed, till now, under the draft, the previous sporting draft, no official can serve beyond 70. So 70 is the retirement age as of now. Now, what the bill will do is retirement age was being pushed to 75, not for everyone, but for age of 75 for president, secretary, and treasurer. So the top 3 now have got a 5-year extension. So let me give you an example of the BCCI. Roger Binny turns 70. According to the current status, he would have had to retire, and BCCI would have to look for an alternative president. But now, this bill, if it does come into effect in the next few days, then retirement age of 75 for president, secretary, and treasurer. What was the need to push that to another 5 years? Who does this benefit? I think that's the other big question mark. So thumbs down to this. Thumbs down to the other bit. No tenure restriction. Now remember, according to the sports draft before that we had, the the rule that was being followed by all sporting federations, including the BCCI, you could have a maximum 12 years in office, no more than 12 years. Once you completed 12 years, whether it was together or now it is actually scattered, after that you could not then be an elected representative. Now the bill is saying there is no upper limit. Officials can continue indefinitely. So if I get elected as an executive member at 50 years of age, then I can continue for 20 years if I want, if I keep getting elected. So no tenure restriction, which was there previously, that has been removed, and that's another thumbs down when it comes to this sports bill. Point number 3, which really wouldn't go down well with the well-wishers of Indian sports, is that cooling off period also has been diluted. Now, spoke about the total tenure. Right now, the mandatory cooling off period is their 4-year cooling off period. So once you finish your 3-year tenure, you'll have to have a 4-year cooling off period, and that was there within the BCCI. If you remember, Saurav Ganguly then had to get into the cooling off period. Jai Shah, who is the secretary right now, is undergoing a cooling off period. So it existed for other sporting bodies as well. Now that has been diluted. Now the new bill, if it comes into effect, this only applies to the top 3. So if you're a president, secretary or treasurer, you will have to go through a cooling off period. For the rest, if you're in any other position holding office within a sporting body, you can carry on uninterrupted. So there is no cooling off period for you. And why was the need to do that? That's another big question mark. Okay, thumbs up to point number 4, and that is life president clause has been omitted. This is very interesting. Now, previously, as things stand right now, the previous sporting draft said ban on life presidents or similar honorary posts. So what would happen? A lot of these powerful people, a lot of politicians, once their tenure was over, whether they crossed 70 years or they're done their 12 years or they're in a cooling off period, they would invent a new position like, life president or patron-in-chief or something like that. That would be an honorary position. So you'd say, listen, I don't need to get elected. I've been elected lifelong honorary president or something like that, by which you would keep interfering in the functioning of that sporting body. Now that was removed previously in 2011 and was in effect till now the bill has no mention of it. If there's no mention, then I guess it leaves a loophole, and then once again you'll have some powerful people assign themselves these important positions and keep interfering in the functioning of the national body. So that, I think, is another thumbs down. And finally, the 5th thumbs down from us is that criminally charged can hold office. Now, previously, the 2011 draft said that those with criminal charges can't hold National Sports Federation post. It was written there loud and clear. So anyone who has a criminal charge could not hold that post. But now the bill, once again, has no mention of it. Now, again, it leaves a loophole. If there's no mention of it, then it opens door for tainted official. Now, these are things that you need to consider. This, of course, as I mentioned, the sporting bill will go through a vote. But as of now, there has been no opposition as such. The government is very keen to pass it. No opposition as such from any other parties. But if these things are looked at minutely, maybe certain changes can still be suggested by the parliamentarians. Do let us know what you think of this new proposed bill in the comment section. Give us a like if you're enjoying our content. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to Sports Today.